for 100, the podcast where I've taken 100 films. I think every new movie watcher, every old movie watcher, I would give this list to Leonard Maltin and be like, "Hey, Maltin, knock that silly shit off." I don't even know what silly shit he's knocking off. But this is the list of movies that you need to watch. Like, he hasn't seen each of these 15 times. And I ranked them from 100 to 1. Each one's got a 100-word review. I'm pretty sure Mr. Maltin can write a much more brilliant 100-word review than I can. But I try my best. And each movie gets a podcast. And each podcast is released one a day for the first 100 days of the year. And it's me, your host, Seed, for this whole bit of business, man. Yesterday, we talked about, it's a rough one, The Exorcist. Whew. A bit of a scare for you, man. I'm not a tough guy. I get scared easily, all right? I have thin skin when it comes to films, is the easiest way to say it. I scare easily. But I made it through watching Exorcist again just for y'all. You're welcome. Today, we're in the 80s. We're chilling in the 80s. 1980 on the dot, to be exact. With a little joint directed by a man named Irv Kershner. It's called The Empire Strikes Back. Let's get into the 100-word review for Empire Strikes Back, shall we? A sequel that took the delight of its predecessor and broke new ground, The Empire Strikes Back shook up Star Wars mythology by introducing new characters, deepening the audience's understanding of the Force, and dropped a revelation that continues to stun new viewers to this day. While Darth Vader continued to terrorize both the rebels and his own damn workforce, the introduction of Yoda was both a risky gamble and a creative breath of fresh air. Hamill, Fisher, and Ford further mined their characters for more depth, while director Irv Kershner turned in a tense, thrilling, and emotional joyride. Yeah, I'm not sure what all I need to say about Empire Strikes Back that hasn't already been said about, by everybody on the internet, on the blogs, on the Twitters, on the social medias, and Variety. We've talked about Empire Strikes Back for 40 years now. It's still so good. We talk about it for 4 years because it's so good. It still sits as number one on my list of top favorite Star Wars movies. I mean, the Last Jedi is knocking on the door, but Empire Strikes Back, because we get so much focus on my favorite character, fictional character of all time, Han Solo. We get a lot of focus on my favorite fictional ship of all time, the Millennium Falcon. The antagonistic, weird relationship between Solo and Leia is one of my favorite romances in all of film. I think they just mesh together, man. This is one of those couples you're like, man, them motherfuckers don't need to be together, but they love each other. They should be together, but they love each other. So maybe that'll work itself out. Apparently it didn't come Force Awakens. But still, it's such a beautiful relationship to see bud and develop. You get Yoda in the mix, right? And Luke's relationship with Yoda and his furthering of understanding of the Force. Obi-Wan coming back as a Force ghost, which gets to set things up for later films down the road. Everything, all the battles are great, man. The opening battle on Hoth with the AT-ATs. I think it's the first time you see the AT-ATs and the snow speeders, and Luke's idea to use the harpoons to bring them down, him being in control of Rogue Squadron. You see how resourceful he is without the Force. There's so much goodness. So much goodness to this. Boba Fett makes his big grand scale appearance. He first pops up in the holiday special, but for real, Boba Fett comes in here, has about 8 lines, 8 words maybe, and he's now ingrained in pop culture as one of the best bad guys there is, where nobody knows why, but he is. I find that weird, but still. I think Darth Vader was for the longest the most terrifying in this movie, until of course the end of Rogue One. And then you get the I am your father revelation. As a kid, I was like, I don't even know, this dude's been so grimy the whole movie, I don't even know if I believe it. But he ends up being old Luke's pappy. Something you probably want to tell your son before you lop one of his hands off, but that's a different story for a different day. Billy D. Williams coming in as the smoothest man in the galaxy is also a interesting foil for Han Solo, and he's always trying to get his high key flirt on with Leia. Well, what have we here? All that kind of good stuff. So many good quotables throughout this. The bit of physical comedy between Chewbacca and 3PO. I can't see. This is an amazing film. It takes the thrills of Star Wars and it turns it up a notch. It raises the stakes a little bit. It's called The Empire Strikes Back for a reason. They score some pretty big victories in this. The rebels are always on their heels. They start off comfy, but as soon as the Empire strikes, at Hoth, they got to scramble to evacuate. And they're chasing the Falcon down. Han's got to be flying, risking his life through asteroid fields. They can't get comfortable because they land in somebody's mouth. They think they go to safe haven, but the Empire's already beat them there. Boba Fett takes Han. Our main hero loses a fucking appendage. He's just beat all the hell to the end of this movie, which is a good lightsaber scene, not a great lightsaber fight. The Return of the Jedi is much better, but it's just so many losses that they take in this. Han Solo's frozen in carbonite and taken away. I couldn't deal with that as a kid. But yeah, the Empire struck back and struck back hard, man. It took something we love, it twisted it on its head, and made it even better. And that's why you want to check out number 8 on this list, The Empire. And how could I almost not talk about John Williams creating the theme for The Empire, one of the most domineering, horns blaring. It's something you could easily sync up to Nazis marching in the streets in the 1930s, late 30s and the 40s, and it would sync up perfectly. And I'm pretty sure that was the intended, comparison that we were meant to make. But this movie does not work without John Williams' Imperial March, without his little leitmotif for Han and Leia, without Yoda's little bit of silliness he puts in there. So yeah, shout out to John Williams. Number 8, The Empire Strikes Back.